I have with us in the studio Comrade Sarah Igumbo. She's a new media personality and a youth advocate. Thank you so much for coming to the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning, viewers.
And of course, sitting very close to her from my extreme left is no other person than Comrade Grant Osazua Aredo. He's the ADC campaign director. Thank you so much for coming.
Good morning. Thank you, viewers.
All right, let's start with you, Sarah. You know, they said women first. Let's give you that honor. So that it won't look like we are not acknowledging your gender as far as this race is concerned.
All right.
What forms a free, fair, and credible election to start with?
What forms? Okay. I think that should start from the primaries. You know, that drives the whole processes. Free and fair elections should start from party structure and within the party level. That strengthens the very core of democracy. Thereafter, it takes form. Free and fair election shows neutrality. It is the will of the people replicated through the ballots.
Okay.
No voter intimidation whatsoever, no electoral violence, no vote buying. These are the things that forms a free, fair election. The will of the people reflected in the ballots. And not a situation where you have people come out, you know, en masse and say, okay, this is who we are voting for. This is who we want to pilot their affairs. And at the end of the day, results are announced and something else is announced. So the people's voice being heard, translated through the ballot, is the main core of free, fair, and credible election.
Now, she has actually taken us back again, you know, starting from the primaries. Now, looking at the intrigues that trailed most of the primary elections leading up to having candidates emerged, how can you assess these primary elections and how will it impact on the various political parties? Comrade Grant, yes, you.
All right. Thank you very much, DPO, for that question. You know, the primary election, just as you rightly said, is supposed to be the foundation of a credible election. But what we see today is actually a different thing completely in some of the parties. You can see, I don't want to start mentioning names of parties, but you and I both know there are a whole lot of issues here and there from all these prevailing parties.
I don't really know. Maybe
okay.
Sarah will be helping us.
Okay.
I'm not a politician.
Okay. If you want to school you through, I can do that.
All right, let's go ahead.
You know, like in the PDP right now, you can see a whole lot of issues here and there, court cases over the primary election. Same thing, I knew went on the APC party. Same with the Labour. I mean, why should people just impose somebody on people's right? Let me tell you something, DPO. This is democracy. Democratic election must be free, fair, and credible. And it starts from the primary process. If from the very primary process you have started the intimidation of the people, which means the will of the people is already grounded. And that it kind of scare many people away. So for a free, credible election, it should be democratic, right from the primary, down to the time of campaigns, during and after election. That's the way I see it. Thank you.
Comrade Sarah, can we ever have a primary election that is free, fair, and credible in this nation?
Of course, why not? Why can't we have that? Of course we can have that.
So what are the parameters?
The truth is, as we grow by the day, we learn. You know, we learn political parties, you know, as you conduct primaries year in, year out, you know, you begin to learn. You take note of some areas that you must have not handled properly. And in the next opportunity, in the next electoral space, you are able to develop on that. We can have a free fair, credible primaries. There's nothing stopping that. Issues are bound to happen. That is the beauty of democracy. There will be clash of interests. There will be misunderstandings. But it is how these misunderstandings are well managed. That's what makes the party strong and firm. Okay, so when he said, oh, there will always be issues, there has never been a time where, as long as you have different individuals wanting a particular position, aspiring, for a particular office, there will always be clash of interest. But it is the mechanism put in place by political parties that strengthens the party, that makes the party become united, even when there are clash of interests. It's this mechanism. That is why we keep anchoring on parties, political parties, to strengthen their dispute management mechanism within the party.
Talking about dispute and management, now it seems political parties have a way of ignoring its constitution and doing otherwise. In the build-up to the primary elections, we saw some persons having their own parallel primaries held in their compounds. And of course, we've seen major players who were actually aspirants leaving some parties and cross-carpeting. It has been a norm. Have we learned from these mistakes?
Honestly, back to what I said earlier on, those are the mistakes that keep a kind of repeating itself, which needs to stop at this very point in time. We, the new generation, are now saying no to such kind of practices. It is wrong. The judiciary should be placed in such a way that when such application comes up, it should be treated with speed, you know, because justice is justice denied. A situation whereby you see people doing things that is in disarray to the INEC laid down rules and procedures. That's no longer democracy anymore. A democratic government should follow the laid down rules, and nobody is bigger than the law. As in this case, whereby you made mention of the fact that some people go contrary to the laid down rules of the primary and all that, that's where the stress comes from. And those people should be subjected to the law. And stiff penalty as well should be placed, so that henceforth defaulters will be used as a scapegoat. And when such thing happens, you see everybody, they will fall in line and build the shape of a beautiful democracy in the state. So back to your question whether a free, fair, and credible election can take place. Definitely, it's just a mindset. It's the discipline of the people and how the judiciary system, INEC, and security operative are put in order to be able to shape up a democratic government in the nation.
Comrade Sarah, some stakeholders have said if you are leaving office as an incumbent governor, you don't have any business having a successor. That is a major problem hitting our polity. And it's a major problem that needs to be scrutinized carefully. We've seen cases where a governor who has spent 8 years in office is also having interest of having someone succeed him. And these stakeholders are saying, once you are done with your tenure, pack your things and leave the office and let the game be open for everyone. Do you think we can ever get to a state or a stage where we have the power of incumbency throwing its weight behind a candidate? The way you're staring at me, it's, you're not going to avoid this one right now.
It's okay. I thought we were not going to discuss politics.
It's still politics.
But anyways, yes, you can have that. You see, most of why people feel the need, like they say, oh, first of all, let me clarify. As a governor, I think even after playing your role as the leader of your party, when you're done with office and you've handed over to the person succeeding you in office, I don't think you should have a business controlling what the person that is currently there should do or should not do. And this is one of the issues we have been having over time, where you see instances of godfather and godsons. I think the role because we are not going to now come here and pretend that you don't know that as a leader of the party, it is within your rights as the leader of your party to campaign for your party's candidates. Nobody is going to take that from anybody.
Campaigning
yes,
for your candidate
exactly.
is different from endorsing a candidate.
Yes.
Let's separate these two.
That's why, if you observed, there is what they call primaries. Let all of them go and battle it out. And then after the primaries, a candidate emerges. And what that means is everybody within the party structure must galvanize themselves, come together, and deliver that candidate. And when and that's the place where campaign and every other thing falls into place. And you try to carry the people along, try to set the agenda, the manifesto of your candidates to the people, so that they can buy into the agenda and take the state forward. Then when you're done with that, as you hand over to your successor, I don't think you should have any business with government.
Take a bow.
Yes, you take a bow, a dignified bow, and allow the next governor be governor.
Okay.
I think that is the most important thing, and I think that's where politicians miss it.
Okay, I would like you to hold this on one hand, Comrade Agado. We've seen a governor who once left the stage and make boast and said, I bought form for everyone. Even the incumbent governor bought his form. None of them spent a dime getting their forms. We've seen cases like that, and it didn't go down well. The issue of godfatherism and godson is not going down well in Rivers State. Let's not shy away from it. And we saw in the build-up to the primaries, we've seen how leaders of political parties, they are busy speaking on behalf of their candidates when candidates are not speaking yet. We've also seen a major political party in the state. From the handwriting on the wall, it seems the leaders of the party have interest on a particular candidate. But you hold that on one hand. Now have the privilege of having with us in the studio Surveyor, let's get that name very well now. He is Surveyor Armstrong Ovie Afebo. He is the Board of Trustee Chairman, Southern Youth Assembly of Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Now let's get back to you.
Okay.
The issue of godfatherism and having the power of incumbency not playing out in our electional process. Take it up from there.
Okay. Well, that's where the fraud in electoral process actually starts from. A free, fair, and credible election should be made known to the people and given to the people on a platter of gold. If you go behind and you are now merchandising electoral process, excuse me, it doesn't go well because you are now trading the electoral process for your own personal gains. And that's why you begin to see all the numerous fights here and there that we are seeing. It's a fallacy. It's an embarrassment on our own democracy. Fine. I don't see any problem in you trying to say, okay, I'm projecting somebody. Projecting that person means you are trying to say, let the person continue from your good works that you have already left behind. But trying to merchandise it, it becomes a problem. Because by the time you spend your personal money, you are not even expecting that personal money alone back, but rather you are expecting both the personal money and extra gains on it. That becomes fraudulent. And in the course of doing that, you are at the same time choking the new elect, in terms of the governor or whoever you are projecting, from having the normal resources to be able to continue the good work and improve on it. So such things should stop.
Okay.
So, in a nutshell, that was why I postulated that, look, INEC, the judiciary, and even the federal government should increase the level of punitive measures that will be melted down on such things, so that in the near future, such a thing should stop. In fact, now it should stop.
Okay, so we should have those in power, the incumbent governors, stay off and stay clear of the electionary process.
Stay off. You can support. There's no big deal. But merchandising it is a no-no for me.
Okay, Comrade Sarah was smiling, but we'll get back to you in a moment. Let's get to Comrade Armstrong. Comrade Armstrong, towards a free, fair, and credible elections, what are your expectations?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, first of all, let me correct that I'm an estate surveyor and valuer.
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
So, towards a free, fair, and credible election, what are my expectations? One is that I expect, a robust and massive voter education by INEC. It is essential because most times you have seen that some of the elections that go into rerun are basically, at times, apart from the violence, because of the number of void votes that you see. Now, what results of these void votes? It is because of lack of proper voters' education. You see people, they know the choice of party they want to vote for, but instead of voting for that party, they will go across the line and thumbprint across the line. So most times, you begin to have a problem where that, is something that INEC have not been able to address, very, very well. Now, I also expect that the beavers, which, the INEC led by Professor Yakub Mahmood have introduced, should be deployed in this election in Edo State. One of the major credibility questions that the last presidential election is facing today is that the beavers was not deployed on the day of the presidential election. They had to fall back to the manual process to, collect results. So in this election, we expect that the beavers, which was actually the cell for the last election, should be deployed massively and used effectively. That is another one. Then another one is that we expect too that the security operatives should engage, they should be engaged to be around the election, each of the election, the polling units, so as to be able to curb any crisis that may want to erupt at any point in time. I personally would not encourage them to go into the election venue with arms and ammunition. No, I will not encourage that. But around the election venue, so that in case, things are getting out of hand, they can come in quickly, to manage the situation. I would also expect that the political actors should know that election will come and go, and they will remain indigenes and citizens of Nigeria and of Edo State. And so when they are playing their politics, they should ensure that they don't play to the gallery. Today you see people using some kind of, unspeakable words in public. It should be discouraged. These are some of the things that fuel crisis. When you as a leader come to the public to make certain statements, your followers, they will amplify it. You understand? And at the end, what they will
amplify it in what way now?
Good. If for example you come and you say we are not going to tolerate X, Y, you are not going to tolerate. The mindset of your followers is that you are ready for violence. That's the mindset. So any little thing that happens on the election day, they are ready to engage violently. So we must be careful and mindful of the kind of languages that we use as we go into September 21st.
Okay.
Because after election, we are still going to be in this state. Whatever crisis we create during the election, we are still the one that are going to manage it after the election. So what is the essence? What is the need? Why should we deploy hard-earned resources to start managing crises that we have the capacity to resolve if we decide to play by the rules of the game?
Okay.
So these are some of the things I expect that, that should happen. You understand? Elections results should also be released early enough to avoid, from the polling units, from the polling unit to the collation center, to even the point where, the declaration of the final result will be made. It should be on a very, very...
You are indirectly speaking to INEC now.
Yes, that's the role of INEC, because when you create time, when you create that time lag, you are delaying, you are dilly-dallying to do what you are supposed to do. It creates room for manipulation. You start receiving different phone calls. You are now under pressure, and those kind of pressure can sway you, and you don't know the kind of pressure that you get. You don't know what can be used, to pressure you into submitting to what you are not supposed to do. And those kind of things can, again, lead into serious crisis.
We know with someone like you, you have a lot to say on this talking point. We'll get back to you in a moment. Comrade Sarah, what are some of the problems you are foreseeing as far as this election is concerned in Edo State?
I think that would be, I think this is just to even put it out there. One of the things that would want to appeal to our security agencies, that they should maintain neutrality. Because we know that the INEC, it's known, INEC, security agencies, they are not answerable to the state government. So our people are willing and waiting for our security agents to maintain neutrality. A situation where any member of the security, agencies are seen dancing to the tune of a particular political party is an error. And I think we need to put this out there. Our security agency must maintain neutrality. And one thing is said, which is some of the things that we are foreseeing right now, are political gladiators, political leaders making inciting statements. These statements are capable of causing chaos, causing crisis, not just within just this election alone, but after. And like he said, we are the ones that are we are all going to be here. And we're all going to face the dance steps of the music that has been played. So political leaders, because that started, and it's very important to put this out there, political leaders need to be careful the kind of statements that they make as regards that. Then also, I want to also quickly put this out there. So CSOs and the media, what is the role of the media and CSOs as watchdogs? Some of the things I'm foreseeing, electoral violence. On that day, I want them to monitor the process, reports, because these are the things, and not just alone on election day alone. No, it should start from now. Sensitization, engagement with our people. They need to know these things. They need to know why electoral violence is a no-no.
Okay.
So these are the things that we need to start putting in place now. Because if we do not start handling this thing at this root cause, it will pose a problem for us going forward.
Looking at some of the technical issues that trailed the 2023 general elections, which INEC actually admitted that they had glitches. And of course, what are your expectations? Should we have a repeat of the same failures? Should Edolite and of course those in Ondo State trust INEC at this point to play by the rules? Yes.
All right. For that question, I think by now INEC must have learned their lesson from the past, and they must have done all they are supposed to do. In this kind of digital economy, you don't expect things like all those unnecessary hitches not to be called before the very day. This is a technological world, technological generation. They should put things in place, not just for the beavers alone, but in also sending messages to the server, the database, everything should be fine. And they should do a kind of a test before the actual day of election to see that all is well and good. Then again, in terms of the security, I mean, I don't see any reason why we cannot apply little things like small drones that can actually hover around and check the security of how things are going on well. So that wherever there's going to be a kind of malpractice or violence or whatsoever, the person or the ward or whatsoever can be spotted out and dealt with. All these are minor stuff. So that we now know that, yes, let us start with a litmus test with Edo State being the hub of educational excellence to see that, okay, things were done rightly, and we cannot start a kind of expanding to other states. Let them copy from us. That, look, everything is credible, both in technology, both in trying to curb crime and protecting the voters' rights and all their lives and everything that have to do with the electoral process. Everything should be put in order. Because, fine, it is not a bad thing to have an error, but from that error and the mistakes, you now build upon it to be able to curb whatever you need to put in place. So by now, I should expect INEC and the security operatives to have improved on all their old gadgets.
Nigerians are saying INEC have the opportunity to redeem its integrity using the Edo and Ondo election as a bailout for their errors in the past. Comrade Armstrong, what are your expectations?
This is a tough one. I say it's a tough one because of history. Over the years, we have always expected much from our electoral umpire. After each election, they make promises. The next election comes, they fail again. Like I said earlier, the beavers was the selling point, into the 2023 general elections. And at the end of the day, the major shortfall of INEC in that election, again, was the beavers. So my fear is that we may not be able to predict what they are going to do. Because each time we predicted what they may do, trying to advocate for them, they've disappointed us. So I would advocate that we just watch and see what they are going to do. However, they are already sending us warnings, and we must be careful and begin to ask them questions from now. They told us recently that the flood that affected most parts of the country, that Edo State, was included, affected some of the beavers, the beavers machine. They've not come back to tell us if it has been replaced or if it has been rectified. So we need to know if, it's just few days. We can't even say, we should be counting days now to the election. So by now they should tell us if these machines have been replaced, how much they have been able to test run this machine to ensure that on that day it is not going to create problem. If they are deployed, maybe if there is a way they can deploy machines from other states, because this is a staggered election, they can deploy machines from other states, to use here. They should tell us. They've told us the problem. They've not told us if the problem has been solved. So we need that level of transparency. We need accountability. We need them to tell us where we are. And if they are able to tell us all this, then we'll just watch and see if, if the leopard can actually change its skin.
So you're saying INEC cannot change?
I am suspicious that they may not be able to change. Judging by history, judging by history that they have given us, I'm suspecting that they may not be able to change.
In the build-up to the 2023 elections, in some states, even in Edo State, people were intimidated. Some were asked to leave some polling units if you are not voting for a particular political party. And this gives rise to concerns for the smaller parties in quotes who are actually major players too as far as the election is concerned. Now, can we have a free and fair election that doesn't come with intimidation and harassment? Looking at what happened along the airport road between two gladiators. Comrade Sarah.
I often wonder why you always direct these kind of questions at me. But the truth is, this is the reason why we keep saying there should be continuous engagements and sensitizations. And that is why we will not downplay the role of the security agencies, INEC, and every electoral stakeholders, CSOs, the media. You see, the security agencies need to allay the fears of our people. You need to give them the assurance. That is why, if you listen earlier, I said that the security agencies must not be seen dancing to the tune of a particular political party.
You have said this over.
Yes, it is very important
again.
because if we don't put it at, because that is when intimidation comes in.
Are you talking about party in power at the state level, party in power at the federal level?
I'm not talking about party in power at the state level.
Okay.
We all know that the governor of the state does not control the police force.
The commissioner of police.
The commissioner of police. We all know that is a known this
well,
is, so
he's operating
we
within the
shouldn't even go there. But that is not even the bone of contention now. What we are saying is security agency must maintain neutrality. You must boost the confidence of Edo voters as far as 2024 election is concerned. You must ally the fair so that they know that they can go out there and cast their votes. And their votes will count. They will not be intimidated by security agencies. They will not be intimidated by anybody. And INEC too has to engage critical stakeholders. And our people, there has to be continuous voter education and sensitization. Our people need to be aware of some of these things because these are the fears. So you have to give them the assurance that there won't be any electoral violence. The security agencies will play their role. INEC on their own too will play their role. So if there is transparency at that level, if there is accountability at that level, everybody, you see huge voter turnouts. You have to give our people the assurance. That's why it boils down to the security agency. And I will not fail. I will continue to emphasize this, that security agencies must maintain neutrality. You cannot be dancing to the whips and caprice of any political party. There should be a neutral point as far as Edo 2024 is concerned.
Talking about neutrality, you want to say something? Well, let's quickly get to Akedo so that we'll not jump the gun. You want to shed more light on what she said?
Yes, in as much as I agree with her, actually, I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the Commissioner of Police. Irrespective of your role, fine, she did mention the fact that the police are not controlled by state. But let me tell you something, this is Nigeria. There's nothing money cannot do. Everybody have a price. But by the time money starts exchanging hands, you discover that somebody who is supposed to be a giant up there is now like a puppet. We shouldn't allow that. If you are giving money, fine, all well and good, take it, but do the needful. And I think that will help us do the right thing. And when such a thing happens, it will also send a very, very strong signal to whoever tries to perpetrate such a thing in the near future. I think that will not curb it. I also want to use this opportunity to appeal to Edolites, especially the voters who will come out that very day. People are here doing here and there doing vote buying, vote stuffing, and all that stuff. If they come to you and they give you money, please, it is your patent right. Pick it, use it, on that very day, vote your conscience. It's a matter of you going out there to speak. Your voting is what is speaking your mind. Is what is trying to tell you, this is the pain I've witnessed, and this is the pain I don't want to witness anymore. So it is your voting that will count, and at the same time send away wrong governance and invite good governance into the state. So that's the way.
Okay, let's quickly have a comment.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I think the main cross of your query was if election violence can be curbed.
Yes.
I do not think it can. Straight away, I don't think it can.
Why?
Simply because the money involved in politics today in Nigeria is too awesome.
Oh, I'm telling you.
If politics was not lucrative, you will not see all of these problems, these fights here and there. It is because politics have turned into business. So people invest in it, because they have put their investment, they feel that their life depends on it.
They safeguard it.
Yeah, so they use every means to safeguard it. If they cannot use the conventional means to achieve it, they use the unconventional means to achieve it. And that's the violence that you see everywhere. Now, those who are also deployed to perpetrate this violence also are beneficiary. They give them a lot of money, you understand, to ensure that, this, dreaded violence is orchestrated, is melted on the people. If you just talked about the incident that happened in Airport Road the other time. If the office of the governor, the salary for the office of the governor, everything accruing to the governor at the end of a year, a month is 500,000, and that of the office of the deputy governor is 300,000, 350,000. Nobody will fight.
Tell you.
Nobody will fight. Everybody will face their duty. They will earn their salary. What they will live according to their means. But because the money there is so enormous, the splendor is so much, when you are there, man, it's like you are in heaven. It is the heaven that you hear preachers talk about. That's where they are.
You are tempting some people now to go into politics. Is this your submission?
so when you are there, you don't want to leave. So you do everything. You are ready to kill. You are ready to do anything to sustain it. You even lose your conscience. Because you feel that, then you now see sycophants who come around you to say what you are doing is the best. You are the best thing that have ever happened in this life. And so you want to maintain it. So if you expect that it's going to end, it's not going to. If we want violence to end in our electoral process, we now need to talk about cost of governance. It is essential. It must reduce. Those who want to come to govern must know that they want to come and work, not that they want to come and eat and keep for their yet unborn generation. No. So if we are able to address this, maybe, just maybe, we may be getting to the bottom of addressing the root of violence in elections. Anything short of that, we are just playing.
Now, the
Perhaps
national...
we should take you back to Edo 2020.
Okay.
If for those of us that monitor that election very well, you would say and you will agree, except we are just trying to be very economical with the truth, that it was violence-free. We had the will of the people reflected on the ballots. Let us be very honest with ourselves.
Was it 100% violence free?
Let's say 98%.
Okay.
And that's us being fair. Let's not pretend. You see, Edo election is quite different from every other state. So I will speak for Edo. I'll speak for my state.
So what is peculiar about Edo?
Because we are part of the sophisticated voting population in Nigeria. You can't take that away from us. In Edo 2020, there's a reason why I'm bringing that. Because he's saying it's almost impossible because of the lucrativeness of what our political leaders have turned politics into. But if you say it like that, it means you are undermining what the efforts being put by some critical stakeholders in ensuring that...
Let me take you back to 2020. I also monitored that election.
Thank you.
I was at Onwa West, Uzeba to be precise. And I saw how the local government chairman then, the incumbent local government chairman, personally he was at the polling unit sharing money. And he was of the ruling party that you allege actually had one of the freest elections so far. So how are we going to strike a balance if you still have stakeholders involving themselves, using money and every other means just to achieve their aims?
Let me quickly...
Your voice is going down.
No. We talked about violence,
yes,
right? And you are talking about vote buying.
Yes.
It's two different things entirely.
But that is not to say what you have alleged, because I was not there, but I need to point it out. I actually spoke on violence and not vote buying. But then again, let's take it forward. Like I said, every election we learn, and it gives room to improve in the next election. That is why my position has been voter education. Our people need to know that collecting money to sell your vote is selling your conscience, is selling your right, is selling our collective. The ability for us to vote in people that ought to take us from this state. Okay. Because by the time you sell your vote for change, we get to suffer it, and we all get to suffer it. So we must continue to sensitize our people, to engage our people, to see the need why vote buying should be eradicated. So I needed to quickly correct you that electoral violence was what I was talking about, and not actually vote buying.
But noted. Comrade Aredo,
people are hungry.
Yeah.
A tuber of yam is about 5,000 to 6,000 naira.
Sure.
Currently. If you go to the market, the last time I checked, to get that yellow rubber pint of gari is about 4,500. To get half rubber of beans, those days, they have this particular measurement they use. But now they'll have to use cup to measure it. They will tell you they don't use that particular measuring method again. It's not giving them what they want. So they have to use cup. So it's 6 cup for about 3,000 to 4,000. And someone who has not eaten, who doesn't know where the next food is coming from, if he's been stirred or enticed with 10,000 naira, won't they sell their votes? Because you are saying they should take the money and also do the right thing. Is it possible to do the right thing when a man is hungry?
It's very possible. Once again, I want to thank you for this question, and I'm happy that you brought it up. You know, what the politicians have succeeded in doing to our people is to use poverty to weaponize them. And when a man that is hungry sees something that can put food into his belly, at that point in time, he can do anything. Fine. That's why I said, and I still maintain, get the money, take it, satisfy your hunger, but at the polls, nobody's going to put a gun at your head at the polling unit to say, hey, I gave you money, vote for me. No. You go in there, it's an enclosure. I voted last time. You know, it's an enclosure. You thumbprint whoever you want to thumbprint for and live there. Have you voted? Yes, I have voted. It's not written which party you voted for. That's very clear. So it's very, very possible for you to satisfy your hunger and at the same time vote your conscience. And I will also use this to appeal to our people out there. We all feel it. Both the high, the low, the medium, everybody is feeling the hunger. And we are the ones that have actually caused this whole scenario and hardship on ourselves because of bad policies, bad governance, and merchandising the Electoral Act. So what do? The best thing to do is to vote for the right people who have the competence. Everybody comes up these days, oh, I will do this, I will do this, I will do that. But there's one thing that is missing, which is, how do you do that? And that's where my candidate comes in. But though you said it's not politics,
it's not a politics, yes.
I will let you know
have
that
time you pay for, we'll have your candidate.
We'll do that, we'll do that, and he will be invited
I'll be waiting for him.
Yeah,
he want to speak with him.
He will be here.
We are inviting him.
Of course,
yes.
He'll be here to tell you how he's going to do governance. You know, it's not just to bring it out. When you see the robust manifesto and he dish it out to you, you know that we are just sitting on a pool of gold.
Please help us extend this invitation to him. We'd like to have him on TMI.
Definitely. After the program, we'll do that.
All right, definitely. Let's get to you.
Yes, I want to disagree with my co-panelist here about if they can actually resist hunger, you know, and do what needs to be done.
Is it possible?
It is impossible.
When you have people bringing bags of money
it is absolutely,
from the
absolutely impossible, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Like he has said, which I agree to, in Nigeria, all parts of Nigeria, poverty has become a tool for governance, which is very sad. Now, on election day, when you go to the polling unit on election day, what you see is that when they want to induce these voters, they insist to say, show me, I want to see how you have voted.
And you have thumbprinted.
Yes, I want to see where you have thumbprinted. And they will stay in strategic locations.
Like monitoring spirits.
To monitor whether you have actually done it or you have not done it. And if they are not satisfied that you did it, they will not give you the money. So you see those, in fact, somebody told me recently, he said, Oga, I want to sell my conscience. If you see you go buy, I beg, bring buyer for me. You know, I was laughing, you understand? But the truth of the matter is that with the state of hunger, people do not know whether they can even survive the next day. And you now come, you tell them you are giving them 5,000, you are giving them 10,000. They want to eat that next moment. So the thing is that if the only time we discuss about, you know, externalities that affect elections are during election period alone, it is not sufficient. Okay. We must prepare. It must be a continuous process. All right. And the first stage is, you know, that is why so much I support the last hunger strike. This thing, because the people are hungry. If people can solve hunger, their conscience will first. They will be able to talk to you. And they don't chop now. They'll be able to talk to you to tell you, say, oh God, this thing not go work. You understand? But when they are hungry, if you tell them, "Oh, just take this biscuit," they will follow you.
The comrade in you is coming alive now. We'll get back to you in a moment. Just hold on. Now, I would like us to manage our time. Okay. We just have 2 minutes to leave the studio. Okay. What should be the criteria to get Governor Obaseki's replacement? We'll just share this across board as we wrap up quickly. Comrade Sarah.
A candidate that is competent, has the capacity to deliver, a candidate that has a knack for excellence. We have to illustrate that, not a candidate that cannot speak, cannot engage the people. Okay. Not a candidate that is far from us.
Thank you.
We need to have this in mind. Competence above all. That is very essential.
We've seen so many manifestos without manifestations. Trade so many governments. Oh, yes. It's not peculiar to this administration. What is the expectation, and what should Edolite put in place to have the next replacement?
Yes. My dear Edolites, I want you guys to look out for competence. Somebody that's not just giving you an empty promises, but rather the person have the how. I take a good listen to the person. How do I do this? How do I move you from step A to step B? Practical examples. And you see it actually working out, and how you intend to rake in the money back into the system. Let me tell you something. You don't have to be waiting for federal allocation of the time. There are lots of money you can make right here when the right things are done.
Manifestos without manifestation has been a major problem.
Yeah.
What should we look at to get the next governor of Edo State?
I will summarize it in competence, character, capacity, content, antecedents. If you, all the candidates that are available, extrail them. See those who pass these 5 criteria the most, irrespective of the political party that the person belongs to. Yes. Vote that person, because we have come to see that political party don't matter in Nigeria. Today, this person will contest in party A, next tomorrow you contest in party B. Exactly. So look for these 5 things. The person that you find these 5 things superior in, who can tell you, I have done this in the past.
Irrespective of the political
party. I have done this in the past. Okay. I am doing this now. I can do this if given the opportunity.
So you're actually saying politicians can start jumping like monkeys?
They are jumping, and what I'm telling you is that they are already jumping like monkeys. I'm telling you that they are already jumping like monkeys. They are already jumping like monkeys. So it should not be about political party, because the former president of this country have come to tell us that political parties are merely vehicles for election.
Of course.
That the most important thing is the person who occupies.
Thank you very much.
So we must look at those 5 qualities.
Estate surveyor and valuer, Comrade Armstrong Oviafebo, we appreciate you for coming. And of course, Grant Osazua Aredo, thank you so much for being on the show. And of course, we must appreciate you, Comrade Sarah.
Thank you for coming.